The last time we saw Ohio State's offense, the last time we saw Ohio State's offensive line was in the Cotton Bowl against Missouri back in December, and it quite frankly didn't look great. It, in fact, bottomed out from what it had been all year, where it had been climbing and consistently getting better, and then it just kind of dropped off. The offensive line, heard about it. Andrew, we've been writing about it all offseason, the idea of maybe they can take a step this year. So I'll start with you, Andrew. Ohio State wins 52-6 on today, but they're missing a starter, Donovan Jackson. They've got 2 new starters out there with Austin Saravetta at left guard and Tegua Shabola at right guard. And you've also got Alabama's transfer, Seth McLaughlin, moving in at the center now. Just what did you think of Ohio State's offensive line for the first time seeing them in 9 months live?
I think it sounds like I'm a little more positive and more optimistic than some people are. I thought pass protection was actually pretty good. I thought Will Howard had some time, and again, I want to talk about some of that on the podcast, which is just kind of an overarching theme. But I thought the pass protection for Will was actually pretty good. You were missing Donovan, so I get that. I thought Seth McLaughlin, the big issue with snaps, there wasn't even one that was like Will had to bend down or leap to get it. I thought Seth kind of proved, today that, he's going to keep proving it, but I thought today was a nice kind of affirmation for him in terms of his snaps. I mean, you want to see them play a big game, and then you can maybe kind of judge that, but that went well. Didn't really notice any, major penalties. There was no formation stuff. There was no holding stuff. The run game is where I have the biggest concern, because this isn't a MAC. This is a MAC team. And you're not playing like a Miami or a Toledo or a BG or a team that is really contending in the MAC, really. Like, Akron is not predicted to do much of anything in the MAC, and you couldn't really blow them off the line. It felt like the run blocking was an issue, and I thought that, there were some really unique run designs. There was the play, right where we're standing, where it was like a read option type play. Will pulled it from Quinshon, and then Quinshon kind of led him right through the hole. I think that there's just some unique stuff that we haven't seen from this offense before in terms of running the football, and there's going to be more of it. But I didn't see the push from the offensive line that you would want against Akron. So again, there's a lot to work on there, and that concerns me for Ohio State, because I don't know if the run blocking is going to be there. But I thought the pass protection was fine. I thought the pass protection, there was a couple plays where Will, he would have to dance around, but that was because he had 5 or 6 seconds in the pocket. So a lot to work on. I thought there was some good there, though, and I think you're going to have to see this over these next couple of weeks, and the run game is a big part of that.
Stefan, what do you think of Ohio State's offensive line? What's your first impressions of them?
I agree with Andrew in the sense of the pass protection being good enough. The definition of how good pass protection has to be when you have Will Howard versus when you had Kyle McCord, I think, changes a little bit, right? As long as his offensive line can give Will Howard enough time, he's got the legs to make extra time for himself if need be. So I think in the pass game, they were fine. A little bit sluggish early, but as the game went on, they got better in the pass protection game. But yeah, I got the run game is, it's a problem. Like, if you can't dominate Akron off the line of scrimmage like that, then that's how we see guys like Quinshon. His first 3 or 4 runs, I think he got a couple yards total. He was struggling to get some yardage because he come off the left, and I know it's a different left guard is in than Donovan Jackson, but there's a defender just staring him right in the face, right? There's no room for him to create. And when you got these running backs and an offense that I think is going to be pretty dependent on the run game and at least wanting to establish the run, that's a problem. And I understand maybe it's not even an excuse. I understand the reasoning of, it's a new interior, guys that usually aren't there, and they're learning to play together. You got a new center, and you got an injury at left guard. I get all that kind of stuff. But here's where we're at with Ohio State's offensive line. And I know it's not the same unit as last year, but because of what happened last year, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. So if you struggle against Akron, you don't get it's just the first game, they'll figure it out. No, you get hey, this was supposed to be better than it was last year. And until you prove it, that's going to linger. And I don't think they necessarily shut that down today. So it's going to linger. It's going to go into Western Michigan and Marshall and Michigan State, where we're going to keep watching that with a close eye, because you haven't earned the benefit of the doubt because of what happened last season.
So I wrote this after the game, that exact idea. I think it's fair that you can say it's week 1 and you've been going up against your own guys for 9 months. Yep. So it's not always going to look great. You're missing one of your starters. You've got 2 guys who have never started a game before starting. I get it. It's going to get better. We said that last year, and it got better. And then it bottomed out in December, which this year isn't going to be a New Year's Six Bowl. It's going to be a college football playoff game when it bottoms out like that again. Not saying that it will, but I also think it's fair, to your point, Stefan, if you felt like we should have pushed around a MAC opponent today, and we did not push around a MAC opponent today. I think those two things are fair because if you look around the country, and you have to because you're going to play these teams later on, teams who were like you did push around their equivalent to a MAC opponent when they played them, right? Obviously, Georgia played Clemson, so that's a different conversation. But the teams who play, right, the teams who played opponents who are similar to the opponent you played today pushed around that opponent for 4 quarters. It took you a half to get going. And I said this after the game. Ohio State's problem child is its offensive line. That's very fair. That is going to be the deciding factor of whether or not this team wins a national championship or not. And it didn't look fixed in week 1. Does it mean it can't look fixed in week 2, in week 3, in week 8, in week 9? Of course it can. But it didn't look fixed in week 1. And if you are on the side of, I didn't like what happened the last time I saw them, and I don't feel great after I saw them this time, I think it's fair to be there. Because to your point, they don't have the benefit of the doubt because you're talking about pass pro. That was the case last year. Pass pro was fine. The run game was not fine. And you've got 2 really elite running backs, and you've got an offensive coordinator who is an elite run game aficionado. And you saw some creative stuff today. So we do need to continue to see improvement, because if not, maybe we're stuck in the same position we were last December where we're getting into a college football playoff game and we're wondering, is the offensive line going to hold up and keep Ohio State from accomplishing its dreams? I'm Stephen Means. That's Andrew Gillis. That's Stefan Krajisnik. We'll continue to talk about this on Buckeye Talk, and go get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Talk to you guys later.